Okay, so we're going to start building our database. And let's see, we'll want to create a database model. We want to set up PostgreSQL. And then we want to create a database. Pretty much just transfer the model over to Postgres. And then we'll want to set up typeform, and then we'll want to set up GRAPHQL, the server, and then we'll want to create the data. No, we want to create the GRAPHQL schema. Okay, let's go over to our Kanban. I'm going to create the data model. And we'll start our timer here. So I use Lucidcharts for data modeling, and I'll leave a link down in the description. It's a pretty neat program. You can use it to build ERDs, and ERDs are entity relationship diagrams. So I'll just build an entity here, and what we're going to start off with is our core model, which is a user. And we're going to start with a primary key here, and the field is going to be an ID. The type is going to be number. And remember that I'm just building a basic model for a user registration and login. So it may just end up being just this one model here. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build just a skeleton or a boilerplate for future projects. But once we're done here, later, once we're building out features, we're probably going to add more relationships, more entities. But for now, it's probably just going to be the simple model here. And see, we're going to have a username, and that's going to be type string. And we're going to have, I'm going to need some more fields here. Next, we're going to have email string, and we're going to have password, but we're not going to store the user password. We're going to store a hash password. You never want to store a user's password on the database. I'll talk about more of that when we're building out the model in the API. This will be a string, and this will be, let's think about this for a second. Other things that we're going to need are verification that the user has email, and this will be a boolean. And we're going to want an occupation. This field right here may not be necessary for your application, but it will be for the one that I'm building, so you may not need it. We're going to need a date created. It's going to be a date type, and this will probably be automated here. Date updated. This will be a date, and finally I think we'll just need an account status. This will be a string, and the account status, you know, now that I think about it, this probably will, you know what, we won't need this right now. Oops, we won't need this row right here for right now. And in fact, I'm gonna leave out the occupation. That's a feature-based attribute, so I think this will be it for right now for what we need as far as building a user API. And this will just be a basic user model, but it'll flesh out later. But for right now, just to build a boilerplate for future applications, this is all we'll need. And let's go ahead and we're going to check this off here, and let's just check this off here. And now let's set up PostgreSQL. Okay, timer's still going. Okay, so you'll want to head down to PostgreSQL's database download, and I'm on a Windows, so I'm going to be downloading this here. And then once you've installed PostgreSQL, you can follow this short tutorial on how to connect to Postgres, and I'll leave a link down in the description. And we can head back over to Jira, and we can cross this out. Create the database. Alright, so we're back in our terminal. Let's go ahead and start our server. Make sure everything's working here. Okay, server's running. Now I want you to head over to Typeworm. We'll go ahead and install Typeworm and get that all set up. Okay, we need to reinstall Typeworm and reflect metadata, and I think we've already installed the types for Node. So let's yarn add metadata, Typeworm, add types for Node, and we need to install Postgres driver. Okay, let's go ahead and install those. So we need to have these settings in our TS config. Emit decorator metadata and experimental decorators. So we need an orm config.json. Let's copy this here. And let's create a new file, orm config.json. Paste that in there. And this is not MySQL, we're using PostgreSQL. Postgres. And we can go ahead and yarn start. Okay, and we also need to add that meta line up here. And we'll probably need to restart the server. Also need to change this port number here. Postgres port is 5432, I believe. Let's restart the server again. Okay, so we also need to create the database. Create DB and test. Let's also go up here and let's remove the password and username. Yarn start. Okay, so we've completed setting up typeform and creating the database. Now we want to set up Apollo GraphQL and the GraphQL schema. So we're going to yarn add Apollo Server Express. Okay, and so we're going to need to go over to the docs here, to the Apollo Server Express docs. Okay, we're going to pretty much need all this here, and let's carry that over into our apps file. Let's put it right here. We're going to take this listener and it's going to go at the bottom. Pretty much we're just going to replace this console.log here. Remove that. Back up here. We need to get rid of this. Okay. The app is instantiated here. And save that. And there you have it. So basically what we're seeing here is GraphQL path. So if we go to that URL, localhost 3000 /GraphQL, we can see that the playground opens, and here's the schema that we just put in. And we can do a query real quick, and there you have it. Returns the data, hello world. Okay, so that works. So let's change this to an import statement. And just for safe measure, let's restart our server one more time. So we're not actually on 4000 port. Let's change that. We're still on 3000, so let's go over here and oops. Okay, let's go ahead and commit our changes. Creates a basic model and GraphQL schema. Okay, so we created a model, but actually it's just a skeleton. So we're going to put that over there, and in Jira we set up our GraphQL server, and we created a basic schema. And let's see, this is done. Let's put in our time. Okay, and pretty much we did this in that step, so we can actually delete this here. And so I think that'll be it for this. We finish this task, and next we're going to expand upon this, but instead of the hello world, we're going to build out the user model and work on this in the next video.